Welcome to Pizza Quest. I'm Peter Reinhardt. In this episode, we welcome back one of our favorite guests, Philip Korshak, who is coming to us today, surprisingly, from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. The last we heard of Phil was when he closed his iconic sourdough bagel shop, Korshak's Bagels, in South Philly's famous Italian market neighborhood a few years ago, left town, and he sort of dropped off the map. Unless you happen to be following him on Instagram or social, where once in a while he'd pop up with one of his wonderful Zen-like prose poems or social commentaries. It looks like we might not ever again see or taste Phil's bagels again unless he relocated to another city, such as Portland, Oregon, or somewhere else far, far away. Yet here he is, like Lazarus, or a rising from the ashes phoenix, about to open a new shop back in his old stomping grounds, South Philadelphia. And lo and behold, it looks like it will include not only his bagels, but also another beloved food, hot dogs.
It will include hot dogs, but it will not include bagels.
We got to get back to that. Okay, you're going to clarify that for you. I can't wait to hear all about this journey that he's been on, what's about to happen sometime soon in my old hometown. So welcome back to Pizza Quest, Phil Korshak.
Thanks, Peter. Great being here.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah. So already we got a little wild card because at one time it sounded like it was going to be bagels and hot dogs. Now it's going to be hot dogs. And I knew when you closed down the shop in Philly before that maybe you might be under some kind of a like a deal where you weren't allowed to come back and compete against the bagels. But so let's get to it. Where have you been? What the hell brought you back to Philly for another go round in a place that I never thought you'd return to again?
So I never thought I'd return to it either. And if I've gained any kind of wisdom through time, definitely not through effort or discipline, that's for sure, but through time, it's that the breadth of my knowledge is really insignificant. And the things that I don't know are ultimately really illuminating. And so when I left Philly, I had no intention of coming back to Philly ever again, and was headed to the Pacific Northwest to try to figure out how I was going to keep going, or what keeping going looked like, what that even meant, and whether I was going to be able to be in the industry or not.
Mm-hmm.
And how I was going to be at all and tie up the tail end of putting to rest the bagel shop. And all of that was really, really hard. And the Pacific Northwest is truly magical and really, really, really beautiful. And there are some very, very talented bakers out there. But my experience was that the industry is still very, very compromised. And for it to function, for human beings not to refer to the thing that they're making as product,
yeah,
or unit, is antithetical and hard for them to come by. For people who are running businesses not to maintain a mindset that there are starter jobs, that the work is also insignificant, or that somebody just handing somebody coffee is part of the job, is the job.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of reductive nature is so hard boiled in the large industry that I am in fact the one who is crazy to keep saying things like, front of house and back of house are ultimately classist, divisionist, and more importantly, based upon a kind of racism, ultimately. And
now we got to unpack some of that, but let me just see if I'm understanding correctly, if I'm hearing this right. You're saying basically the grass wasn't greener on the other side of the continent. That
exactly.
the same problems you were running into. It's a human condition. It's an industrial societal condition, and so you came back.
So
with a new perspective.
I did. I ran out of runway. I ran out of money. I ran out of ways to be. I tried to get a job on the Tacoma Narrows Bridge as a toll collector. Three different times, and couldn't get it, and was devastated by that. Really wanted that job. Ended back up in Austin, where I got to see some of the old home
Where
slaves.
you and I first met when you were at Style Pizza. Yeah.
Exactly. And I got to see some of the old home slaves people, and that was very good for me. And I got to stay with an old friend of mine and sort some things out, and that was great. And in the process of that, somebody from Philadelphia reached out to me and said, "Hey, I've got a spot. Well, I don't know if you're around. I don't know if you do the thing, but I've got a spot." And I wrote him back and said, first of all, it is amazing that if you're thinking about hope and absurdity, that it is my name that comes to mind. I am,
Maybe they're thinking of dreamers, people with big dreams
yeah, I mean,
and ideals.
I think so. I mean, like, I really think so. Of unreasonable hope. And if the person who's building it looked at it and went, you know what would be great? And not simply like dollars and cents or whatever, but good for the neighborhood and good for all of it. And even given my history and my background and, how the bagel shop did not work, lost a lot of money.
Mm.
Still, the person goes, "Hey, the neighborhood misses you. This would be great."
Well,
And I said,
my brother, who was in love with Korshak's Bagels and was a regular for you, he was so thrilled to hear. He goes, "What? He's
yeah,
coming back?"
yeah,
There's love there.
it's really lovely. And so I said that, well, first of all, I have no money, and I don't really know, and I'm not there, and I don't know how any of this would really work. But back to my point, what I don't know is more interesting to me than what I know. I can tell you a million reasons why it won't work, but the one that I don't know is how it can. And so show me the space. And so he videoed me the space, and I went, okay, I have an idea, and I'll be there in 2 weeks. And if you let me walk around the space for a couple of days, I'll let you know if I think I have an idea that might work. And he went, great. And this is a person I've never met. I mean, like, I've met him at the store and I've met him at the park a couple of times, but we don't really know one another. And again, that kind of relentless hope is so seductive and important that it's disrespectful not to engage with it.
It's kind of like there was still a little bit of heat left in the embers,
Yeah.
and it didn't completely extinguish, and somebody blew on it a little bit, and it flamed back to life.
Yeah, for whatever reason, and I'm very, very fortunate about this. And there's a culmination of events that can maybe explain it, but the fact of the matter is that Korshak became part of the Philadelphia vernacular.
Yeah.
That's astounding. Like, that's really astounding. And so I looked at the space, and then I found myself in a strange bodily state when I was engaged in looking at it and seeing what wasn't there, and engaged in the act of creation and hope. And I could bodily feel the difference, like bodily. And that was overwhelming and exciting. And I looked at it and knew that the main thing was I wasn't going to turn it into a bagel shop. And I wasn't going to spend a ton of money on infrastructure I would ultimately have to walk away from.
Yeah.
And how can I do it where the build out is really, really tiny? And so a bodega with hot dogs next to a park was silly enough and fun and easy enough that I thought it would work. And so I started doing some like sketches and thoughts about what that would be and what that would look like. And the more that I thought about it, the hot dog part appealed to me because it's quick.
Yeah.
And because I wouldn't make the bun, because there's a bakery around the corner, Mighty Bread, which is a great sourdough bakery.
So you could partner up with them for the product.
Right.
But
and have them make the bun.
and And what about the dog? What about where do you have
Still don't know how
a vision for that?
Still don't know. I know it's all beef. And I know that there will be a vegan alternative, but I don't have a brand locked down right now that is the one.
So you're still in formation. When I first
Yep.
heard about it, it was over a month ago. How far out are we? Right now, I'm talking to you. It's the very end of March, the beginning of April.
Yep.
We're coming into the Easter Passover season. Is
Exactly.
the season of resurrection, which I think is the timing for us. About the time this show airs, so it'll be probably past all those dates. But
Yeah.
how far along is it, and when
So
will it see the light of day?
I think it will see the light of day in May. I really will.
That's
So we're at the point now where the first round with the city regarding the electrical and the plumbing is happening. And so there will be minor changes that will need to happen to the plumbing and to the electrical. Those will be easily taken care of. I'll get the equipment in. I'll run a couple of tests. I'll open really quiet running on a Thursday or a Friday, from 10 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night for at least the first 6 months in a limited way to avoid burnout from the beginning.
yeah. Well, just before I forget, I'm going to mention this. If you haven't chosen your hot dog yet, I grew up in Philadelphia, and we didn't grow up on the hot dogs from Brooklyn and Coney Island, and all of
Right.
those. I grew up on Levis's hot dogs on Sixth and South.
Levis?
Did you ever know? Because you're not originally from Philly, but did you ever? They were probably gone by the time you hit Philadelphia. Have you ever had a Levis hot dog?
I have not, but I will now.
So Levis's was the the dog of Philadelphia, and it was a go-to part of my important part of my childhood was going there. When I was a kid, you could get a hot dog for 25 cents,
You're right.
and then go to the pickle bar and get all the kraut and everything that you wanted on it. And so I'd have like 4 or 5 hot dogs for for $1.50.
Yeah.
By the time it closed down, they were already up to about 250. Now, who knows what it will cost? But I have no idea if they made them themselves, if they had them made for each other. But if you can track down the source of that Levis, there would be a connection to old school Philadelphia,
Perfect.
and that would be and fabulous. They're as good as anything that anybody else can make. So
Great.
just throw that into your hopper,
Perfect.
my contribution. But I want to hear more about that. You said no bagels. Are you under some kind of injunction to not be able to compete in the bagel market right now in Philly?
So if I were to open a Korshak bagel again, I can open a Korshak bagel anytime, anywhere I want. And if I want to open one in Philadelphia, then the only thing that I have to do is continue working with the same union who was working with me beforehand. That's
Which is that's not going to happen, right? I mean, that was not the most pleasant experience.
That was not a pleasant experience for me. No. And I don't think that will happen. The main point is if that I were to do it again, I would have to do it with the idea of building out even bigger than what I had built out with beforehand.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that at the core of my mission, the core of my belief is that food is about connection of humanity. It is not an end within itself. That every time a human being gets to interact with another human being, there is a gift that occurs because we have the ability to sort of jettison any preconceived notions we have and maybe deal with the fact that we are all in the same place at the same moment in time that will never, ever happen again. And the corollary for that for me that is easy, but still true, is that every dough that you make is likewise specific and will never, ever, ever occur again. And every last one of them, at every moment in their process, will be at the will of the world that is around it, and therefore will not be consistent. What can be consistent is care and love.
There you go.
That you can do. So if I were to build out another bagel shop, I would have to spend more money that I don't have, that I still owe a whole lot of people. And
Right.
then to do it with the idea of building an operation that is mostly based on being able to do very, very, very big numbers.
Well, what one of the things that I'm hearing is number one, it doesn't have to be the bagel. What you're about is not about the bagel. The bagel was a metaphor for this deeper message that you had. It was the means to this sense of unity and caring and love and community and all these other things that you're about. So the medium to get people there can be whatever you want it to be. It could be a hot dog. It could be, it can be a burger. It could be anything, because that's not the only thing you're selling. You're selling this experience beyond that.
That's right. The and where it becomes even more attractive for me, and I understand that my predilections with my brain are my problem, and whatever. It is almost impossible to raise a hot dog to a Olympian standard of fetish, which happens with bread and happens with bagels and happens with pizza. And honestly, it bums me out. In that the thing that I have found to be illuminating about working with dough, is that the best one that you're going to make is the next one.
And I mean, it's true that, bread and if you talk about food as metaphor, bread is the perfect food as metaphor product because of all the things that it represents and the many levels that it exists on. A lot easier to make that connection than it is even with pizza or that it is with hot dogs. But then again, it's still just a means to a deeper end, I think is what's so important. So you gotta build those connections. Since you don't have the perfect sphere of a bagel with a hole in the center that can symbolize a whole bunch of things, you've got to do it with a different medium, a different metaphor,
Right.
and we'll find the way to do that.
And with the hot dog, on a practical level, what's really helpful and useful, the practical level is this: if I'm making the bagel the way that I'm going to make the bagel, if we're going to talk about it in terms of like old school bartending, because I can't keep to one subject, making artisan dough is like making artisan drinks, like an old fashioned or a stormy Monday or a fling around the rosy or whatever, where you've got to get 10 different things and you got to shake stuff and then you got to get a muddler and there's all this stuff that has to happen to make this one drink.
Yeah.
If you're making a hot dog, you are slinging rum and cokes and gin and tonics.
Yeah.
Till the cows come home. You were just moving. And for the idea of being successful in business, that's helpful. Like that's really, really helpful and can be done with a set of labor that is also smaller, which therefore means that what you can pay the labor is larger. And all of that makes it worthwhile. Better, though, is that hot dogs are impossible to take seriously. They are infinitely silly, and the worst thing about them is Freudian. Like it's a win on all levels.
Right. Well, but let me ask you, knowing your artisan soul and the spirit that you embody, there's a lot you can do with the hot dog. Are you going to make your own sauerkraut?
We will definitely. Yep, we will make our own sauerkraut. There are 3 different types of relish that I've got working right now that I think
instead of schmears, you're going to be making, fermented cabbage and other things. So seriously, you can't take it out of you. Huh?
I will still make schmear.
Schmear. There you go.
So in the Pacific Northwest, the way that dogs are sometimes made out there, is with a cream cheese schmear.
No.
And then a dog, and then like a kind of Japanese cabbagey kind of thing happening, and a fish sauce ketchup that's really breathtaking.
So you could have a PNW hot dog out there.
You bet. Yeah. So I think what I'm going to ultimately have are 4. There will be a Pacific Northwest dog like we're talking about. there will be a coney dog, and I'll have a normal hot dog, but I also knocked down a vegan with full and oh golly, what's the I'll blank on the other beautiful vegan ingredient.
Quinoa or something like that.
No, it's like jackfruit.
Oh, jackfruit. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
So you're gonna make those yourself? You're gonna have
yeah, I'll make a lentil jackfruit hot dog chili that is unbelievably good. The vegan dog is fine, but the beef dog is even better if you'd ask me. The straight ahead dog will be a dog ratlet kraut if you want. I'll make the kraut. Yep. I'll make sweet relishes. I'll make a hot, a smoked long hot. I've got a very sweet relish that works for the Chicago dog. The thing that's happening to get the relish for a Chicago traditionally is very, very sweet.
Yeah.
And electronic green.
Yeah, right. I was going to ask about if you're going to do that. Yeah. So and the flavor of cucumber as opposed to pickle. Yeah.
Yep. Sphere cucumber, sport peppers, and all that other stuff.
You think you'll have that on the menu?
I will. But getting the color without using food dye. So doing his own cabbage. Using that to infuse into the sweet relish.
Okay.
To get the color.
All right, now we're getting to it because now we're talking about, doing it the Korshak way as opposed to and this is the story. This is the real story. I'm wondering, have you already been approached by local media or is it when you opened the bagel shop, you got tremendous coverage. You took a simple idea of a bagel shop, which was not a new idea to Philly, but you made it new because of who you are and the backstory behind it and everything else that you brought to the table. So is that happening again? Are you seeing this kind of repeating?
I am. I'm very, 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 very lucky. I mean, like I really am. There is maybe something to be said that I am so weird that I don't really blend well, and therefore I'm sort of identifiable either by my vocabulary or by my dumb hair or whatever.
You're an outlier.
Yeah, right. I'm a corporeal cartoon on a lot of different levels, and that's great. But to the earlier point, one of the things that occurred when I opened Korshak was right after, really during COVID, and the city, like the world, like everybody else, had a internal yearning for community and connection.
Yes.
And a ramped up need for it that was so present that the ability to kind of like hang it on my weird little shop, the way that these people get romantic during the summertime and see a star and hang everything that they want on a fallen piece of rock. And I was lucky enough to be in the night sky at the right time where a whole lot of people made a bunch of wishes. And back for the week looking at the space, there wasn't a day that passed where somebody in the neighborhood didn't walk by and look at me and go, "Hey, wait a minute, are you back? Wait, what's going on?" In a very excited, happy way, a joyful way, a delighted way.
Mm.
And even though I know that at the root of all of it, I'm going to have to come back to everybody and go, "Yeah, but I'm not going to make bagels. Like that's not what's happening. I'm not putting that band back together. That's not what's going to happen."
Yeah.
And I know that
you're going to give them a different portal into your universe.
Right. And I know that conflict will occur, but it's okay. And likewise, I know that when I do the thing that I do, there will a portion of human beings who are still very shop closed and why it closed and all of that, who are still angry and vocal, who will be angry and vocal about it. And that will occur. And likewise, that's okay.
Yeah, you'll bring that into the community, the new community that you're building.
Yeah. And that's, and in the time, so I got back into Philly like late December. Didn't really know this was happening until somewhere in the fall. Took a couple of months to get it together and get me here. Got really lucky and was able to get hooked up again with Danny, DJ and Pietro of Angelo's Pizza.
Angelo's. Yeah, Danny was a big fan of yours. Yeah,
Danny and I are Danny and I are family.
Yeah.
And Danny's, I'm across the street from his bakery in Conshohocken and working with him daily on recipes now. Like it's
Really?
really great.
So,
Yeah.
but so is your new shop, the Bodega,
Yeah.
going to be close
13th and Reed.
13th and what?
Reed.
And Reed. So
13th.
how far is that from where Korshak's Bagels was?
Maybe a 10-minute walk.
Okay, so it's a few blocks away.
Yeah.
It's not like in the next door or right
Yeah,
where it was before.
It is further north, a little closer to the market on the other side of that. It's right next to Columbus Park. It's really,
Wow.
it's a great space.
And it in the olds where you had the bagel shop, is there anything there? Is there any remnants of Cortez or bagels going on there?
There is. There's a nice lady who makes bagels there. Julia is her name.
And what does she call her shop? Do you know?
I don't recall bagels.
But it's not a sourdough bagel like you were doing.
No. They're running a straight bagel.
Well, and there's more and more of sourdough bagel shops opening around the country. You were at the sort of forefront of that, but most of the bagels still are, and there are some good bagel companies in Philadelphia cranking out like crazy. So there's no dearth of bagels. There's just an absence of the Korshak bagel. That was a very unique, specific thing.
Yeah.
And like I said, that was as much about the experience as it was about the bagel.
I firmly believe that that's true. That while that bagel, I mean, like I miss that bagel. I really do. It's a really good bagel.
Well, my 93-year-old mother is still asking me when is he going to just start doing bagels again?
Right? I mean, like if I could, but the overall experience of it, the thing that is and was where I feel validated about is that even with no bagels and even with no shop, the number of human beings who are whimsical about it, wistful about it, grateful about it, is a thing that is beyond my power. And I'm only like really honored to sort of be a part of it. And more to the point, my goal with the one that I'm doing now, it's Korshak Picnic Provisions.
Okay, so let's get that down.
Yes.
Korshak Picnic Provisions. That's going to be the name of the shop.
Yep.
Located once again at
13th and Reed.
13th and Reed in South Philadelphia, right in the Italian market area.
Yeah.
Okay.
And my thought is that it is true that life promised nobody a picnic. It is a promise that we get to make and keep together. I think that's really, really true. And I think that's really, really, really beautiful. And I think that the nice thing about that happens when people picnic, when they do that, is it doesn't have to be contained to a park. It is simply wherever you are, where more than likely you're connecting with another human being in a kind of sacred space that is held by a blanket, which I think is very romantic.
And very connected to a really good hot dog bun.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
And the thing about people picnicking in public is that public space, it is public space. What makes cities great is human beings being together, like being with and around one another. And that I do feel that the problems with humanity are mostly predicated on human beings being divisive, drawing lines where lines do not need to be drawn, being intolerant, and having very, very little empathy. And in a void or a vacuum, all of those things make sense. However, we don't live in a void and we don't live in a vacuum. We, for whatever reason, in a chaotic universe, live in a construct where human beings being connected to one another is better for us than otherwise. Amazing.
Love it.
Like it is so beautiful that we are wired that way. And so what I want to do is enable people to picnic, to look at the world that is around them and to go, okay, so now we picnic. And I don't really want to be, while it is really lovely, this happened to me when I worked at Angela's, happened to me when I worked at Home Slice, happened to me when I worked with Korshak. Human beings would get off of airplanes with luggage and go directly to the shop because they have space. And that's beautiful. And it's really lovely. With the space that I'm making now, what I want is human beings to say things along the lines of, hey, I'll meet you at the place before we go to the park. Wait, oh, not eat dog. And so there will be hot dogs and there will be chips and sweet things and candy and fruit and produce and chessboards and kites and, one barrel of soft serve. But again, it's really for the community. I want a neighborhood store. I want Mr. Hooper's corner store on Sesame Street.
Well, being the poet that you are, you will never run out of metaphors to express your vision of love. And, and I'm hearing a little interference from the microphone, but what I'm thinking, what keeps coming into my head as we're talking is I'm thinking of that wonderful old musical Camelot.
Yeah.
And I keep hearing, like, Korshak's Bagels had its Camelot moment, and the musical ended with the Camelot going away, but King Arthur saying, they'll always be yearning for Camelot. Camelot may be coming back in a new form, and the musical will be called Picnic, the musical. and I can't wait for the music to come. There's going to be an awful lot of things spinning off of this new idea, because again, it's not just about the hot dog. The hot dog is the way through the portal to a deeper connection with something that we yearn for. And I think that that's what you're about. That's what why people love you so much, why they follow you, well, your postings and all sorts of things, is because you're connecting into a different vision of life that, it yeah, you can pin your hopes to it. Your hopes can rise and fall, because anything that's hopeful and idealistic is going to have, everyone's going to try to bring it down. And then fortunately, it keeps rising from the ashes, and you're doing it.
I thank you. It's like, we connected on this before, so it's not surprising. It's like reading the Beat Poets. It's like Corso.
Yeah. Yeah.
I firmly believe that Corso was going at it not in a way to be manipulative or a way to try to get people hooked or whatever. Corso was just trying to find the best way to say something that he thought was true. And for me, and I think for you and for a lot of other people, the thing that happens with connection is you are able to hear a thing that you think is true, and you finally got the way to put it into words. Like you knew it the entire time.
Yeah.
And now it's there in front of you. And like that's the effect of great art. That's the effect of great love. And again, that's the effect of community. And it's not a thing that can be garnered in a way that is solitary. Very, 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 very hard to come by in a way that is guarded, where being right is the end goal.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say is this: I've been wrong more than I've been right, and every time that I've been wrong has gotten more for me than every time that I've been right. Every time, and I'm so lucky that way.
Well, we're going to stay tuned to you, try to get you back after things are up and running and you have a chance to catch your breath. Because once you open, you're going to be running for your life to keep this vision alive. But those who are listening, look for, it's called Korshak's Picnic and Provisions.
Korshak
Is that right?
Picnic Provision.
Korshak Picnic Provisions. Opening hopefully in May or whenever the inspectors allow it. You got to work through all that other stuff. Thank you. Fortunately, you had that experience. You know how to navigate that Philadelphia scene. It's not easy, but we love reconnecting with you and knowing that that the vision has resurrected itself. And I can't wait to get up to Philly and get that hot dog. And one more thing, sourdough buns. That's a unique thing, and you're going to be serving on sourdough buns, right?
So the sourdough buns will be coming from Mighty Bread. So Mighty Bread is a sourdough bakery. And Mighty and I are working together to get the bun that's going to be the bun.
Awesome.
So yeah, but it is true that I couldn't do this and put it on bad bread.
Yeah.
It can't.
Yeah, and it's not easy to get a sourdough bun to be the texture that you want it to be that's right for the hot dog. So listen, before we run out of time, I just want to remind people you can follow Phil at. You still have your Instagram.
Korshak Bagels and Korshak Bagels Poetry.
Korshak Bagels Poetry.
Yep.
Be following him there. We'll get you back and remind people when you're up and running. Not everybody is in Philly. We'll get to Philly, but for those who from that area who are listening, I know that's going to be big news, but I imagine this could have some news implications that go beyond the walls of Philadelphia. So we're pulling for you. Phil, thank you so much for joining us on Pizza Quest. It's more about the quest than it is about the pizza, and it's more about the quest than it is about the hot dog. But those things will get you there. So thanks so much, and we'll see you on another episode of Pizza Quest, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of Pizza Quest. Thanks for joining us.